This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everything is on the line today as our top 8 is about to become a top 6. We've got a back-to-back elimination matches, which means the dreams of lifting that trophy will come to an end for 2 of our teams here. Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of Champions Seoul playoffs. We're coming to you live from the COEX Atrium here in South Korea. I'm your host Yingsu and I'm joined once again by Kakuka and Mimi. It's elimination day, otherwise known as the worst day of the year. It's so sad.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if we think about the teams that we have. For example, Trace and DRX, they fought so hard to ended up getting top of their group, and look at them now.
It's heartbreaking for the teams that go home, but it is the start to a story for some of the teams that could end up going on a run here. There's a lot of potential in these rosters for G2 and Fnatic, and also for a Trace that has popped off, and DRX now as the last hope for their region. Something will start, but of course, it's sad to see people go home as well.
Yeah, and for some of those teams, they will be able to make a run from the upper bracket, because after what happened yesterday, Mimi, did you expect that Leviathan would be the one to get that chance?
I really didn't. I think that Lev's form has been really inconsistent this year, whereas G2, I feel like, have been so solid in their fundamentals. And honestly, I thought that Lev called a better game. After a rough start to Icebox, they came back with a lovely second on the comeback, and then their Abyss just looked great to stay in the upper bracket. The second one, though, was a surprise as well, Bea.
I think that at some point Team Heretics needs to stop, because yesterday they were very close to making history. They got the same. They got Fnatic to relive their worst result in the history of the global events. And we're talking about Fnatic. The form that we saw from them, especially on that first map, we were talking about how they're using the Fnatic composition, but the way that they use it and the lesson that they taught everybody that was watching was amazing. So very looking forward to see what they can do from the upper brackets.
Yeah, let's take a look at the bracket, because Heretics, they're on their way, and surely they're going to win a trophy this year, right? No more second places. Surely.
You're trying to curse Yinsu. Let him do the run.
It happened for Genji.
We don't speak it till anything happens.
It would, you know, it'd be fair as well, but yeah, I think also, you know, Sen has a good route.
And I wonder how many other people, you know, managed to get the results right yesterday. So let's take a look and check in on our pick'ems, even from our watch party friends powered by AWS. Because my pick'ems are in the bin, so I'm just going to do whatever Razzie is doing, because he's overtaken Nate Shot, Mimi.
That's nuts. I mean, doing well up there. We all got rolled yesterday by everyone predicting G2, but some people a little bit smarter than us. I'm impressed that some of these guys are maintaining such high records with the amount of upsets we've had this event.
To be fair, I just wanted to get G2 Fnatic. I got both predictions yesterday wrong, but I still get G2 Fnatic, so I feel like I'm winning.
You do, because if we take a look at the bracket, the second game that is coming up today will be G2 versus Fnatic, of course, in elimination. But first, we have DRX taking on Trace. Of course, DRX, the last team standing as the home team, as the hometown heroes. So I think a lot of the fans are going to be very excited to see how far they could take this. But before we get into all of that, let's take a look at our MasterCard fan poll. We want to know which team you think has the best shot at surviving elimination today. Scan the QR code on screen to cast your votes, and we'll have the results in just a moment. And while you're at it, make sure you use the hashtags VALORANT Champions and VCT so we can feature you guys on the broadcast. But before that, you guys, who do you think has the best chance of surviving elimination today?
I'm gonna go with DRX, because in the second one, I don't know what to expect. If we get the same form that we saw from Fnatic, yeah, obviously G2, but I also saw some mistakes from them. It depends on how Trace is going to be feeling. If you think about it so far, they have won against the international teams. It has been against EDG, their regional rematch that they've lost. So, you know, there's hope there.
I think it's going to be really hard for Trace to come back from a really crushing loss against EDG at their first global. And DRX, even though they are now down in this lower bracket, I didn't feel like their game was quite as one-sided, I think that roster is still showing a lot of potential to maybe go on a run here in the lower bracket.
A lot on the line today, but we can't let the players have all the fun, you know?
We can't.
We got to have some competition on the desk as well. I'm going to put you two against each other to test your knowledge in a game that is known as exclusively as Oza. Oza.
Never had another name.
Oza. Oza. I was hoping that GB would get to do that because I think that would be super funny, but we're going to show you guys a collage of VCT stars, and I will read a piece of trivia about one of them. You guys will have to pick who you think I am talking about, okay? And of course, tell me who's that. So let's start right off the bat. This is your first clue as to which player it might be. Name the player whose global events are Champions 2023 and Champions 2024.
Only? Exclusively?
Yes.
Biank?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you both going for Biank?
I'm going for Biank.
Well, let's see.
Biank.
Who's that? Who's that then? Who are we talking about? Is it Biank? Because, drum roll.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's a 1-1. Don't worry.
The upset man. He's on Billy for their upsets. He's on Trace for their upsets.
And he's always losing to EDG.
Yeah,
that too.
I have a feeling that they're no longer upsets. I just feel like he's just good, you know.
I mean, being an upset doesn't mean he's not.
At some point, I think we got to stop looking at them as upsets. Maybe today. Maybe today is the day. Maybe today is the day. Let's go on the next one. Who is the youngest player on the oldest team here at Champions? I'll let one of you go first, because then if you have the same answer.
definition of oldest team?
I guess it's average age is what I guess they mean. Kukuka, you can start first, given Mimi went for Biank last time.
What teams are old?
I can tell you who it probably isn't. I think there's a... he is 19 years old, if you want a clue.
I have my guess.
Okay,
what's your guess?
You go first.
Second.
All right.
Go for the same. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to second as well. Yeah.
You're both going for the same answer? All right, let's see. Who's that? It is second indeed.
I remember thinking about this in Madrid.
Very good job. You guys are on the money so far. It's a best of 5, so we got 3 more left.
Okay.
Let's see the next one. Who is the player with the most followers at Champions Seoul? Let's see. Who's that? That's an easy one.
Is it Tense or Benji the Fishy?
It's Tense.
Is it Tense?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got like 2 million followers.
Yeah, but it's Benji. I'm gonna go for Benji.
All right, you're gonna go for Benji.
Yes.
Okay, first time you're not going with the same answer. Let's see. Who's that? Who's
Yes!
that?
He would never let me down.
Benji Fishy. Yeah, I knew that.
You guys gotta heckin' love Tens a little
America
bit more.
sometimes is so like eccentric that you like forget about what's out there.
I swear,
I will
has
say
an absurd amount of followers.
He does,
It is
but
an
the
absurd
only
amount of
reason
followers.
I knew that is because Benji's spoken about that before. You know, in the beginning of his career, we were like, "Oh, damn, he's come over and he's
Do you
got that
remember
many
the
followers."
presentation that I did in China pitching why Heretics was going to win and the amount of followers that they all had
I
combined?
knew he was
It a
clouded. I didn't
massive
know
number.
he was like Tens clouded.
He's hella clouded.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought NA had that on lock. So
All right.
get your
well,
numbers up,
Let's
boys.
see who's got this next question unlocked, which is a player with the most kills on a single map at Champs Seoul. Who are we going for?
I feel like I want to go
Seoul.
Kong Kong.
Okay, you're going for Kong Kong and Mimi.
Blind guess.
Do you want the kills? Do you want me to give you the number?
Sure.
It's a cheeky 30 bomb.
I'm gonna go for Buzz.
Okay, Buzz.
Oh, that's such a good
versus
one.
Kong Kong.
That is
games
such
in
a
group
good
stage.
one.
Let's
That
see,
is
who's
such a
that?
good one.
Who are we talking about? It's
was
actually
Dirke.
Dirke. It was on
Nikita.
Lotus, right? Lotus.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, the cheeky little Lotus. And last...
Was that in the Billy game?
or
the
I think it was the
game.
crew one. I think it was the crew
Yes,
one. The
because
last
map
one.
3, he was insane.
Mash them.
Right, let's take the last one here. Player that has played versus PACIFIC at event at every global
There is no way I
There's
get
There's
this.
only one answer,
attended.
and it's ZMJJ. Kong Kong.
Very, very sad. That's a sad
Yeah, I'll
one,
give
I
it that.
feel like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're both going
Yep.
for Kong Kong. Let's
Yep.
see who it is.
Yep.
Who's that? Who's that? It is actually...
What?
It's actually...
Honestly, I would have never guessed that. Like,
but
I don't think I have that information in my brain. I don't have a lot of information, but that one, like, that has always played against PR, that's too deep. And I am the
EDG
one that
has
makes them
played
complicated.
Yeah, that's why I thought they were throwing you off with a Chichu one there, because Chichu was also in there. So I thought maybe that's what we're going for. But hey, I believe Mimi's the winner, right? Mimi got 2.
We won
Wait,
together.
I'll go the Benji.
Okay, you win
I
then.
think no,
together.
we win together.
We win
It was
together. You're trying to.
Share win.
We're so together, and
It's not going to be like that for the rest of the day, though, because there could only be one winner for the match 1 and match 2. And speaking of, we had a chat with Mako, of all people, about their loss to Sentinels and the pressure of playing on the big stage in this Omen player moment.
안녕하세요. DRX에서 활동 중인 마코라고 합니다. 오늘 경기가 되게 좀 1세트는 접전으로 가고 두 번째 맵은 살짝 밀리긴 했지만 사실 졌을 때는 어쩔 수 없이 모든 스포츠가 그냥 어쩔 수 없이 살짝 우울한 것 같고 뭐 진 걸로 인해서 이제 저희가 또 얻어가는 게 있다면 저는 괜찮다고 생각하기 때문에 지금은 그냥 안정을 되찾고 있는 중이에요.
Usual position to be playing in, but still with a rolling thunder aftershock. All combined through. Buzz has been unaccounted for, and he's spraying them through. Zelters, how will not save you?
사실 프로게이머라는 인식이 이제 되게 뭐랄까 그렇게 좋은 편은 아니다라고 생각을 하거든요. 요즘 들어서 이제 좀 좋은 것 같다라고 생각이 들긴 하지만 사실 프로게이머가 아니라면은 이렇게까지 저희가 힘든 건지도 모를 것 같고 사실 제가 뭐 다른 사회생활을 많이 해봤던 건 아닌데 그냥 제가 겪은 일 중에 이 프로게이머라는 직업이 정신적으로 되게 많이 힘든 것 같아요. 그래서 이거를 겪지 않고서야 대부분의 사람은 모를 것 같아요. 사실 저희가 질 때나 이길 때나 팬분들도 저희랑 같은 기분을 느낀다고 생각을 하고 있고요. 뭐 악플도 있는 만큼 이제 저희한테 오는 도움되는 글들도 많이 오다 보니까 사실 좀 반반인 것 같긴 해요. 근데 그건 저희가 안 보면 그만이고 또 악플도 결국에는 저희를 위해서 해주는 말이다 보니까 저는 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
I mean, you heard it there from Mako. Things do get stressful. And Mimi, we saw some of that stress and the way that they couldn't 100% deal with it in that last game.
Yeah, I mean, this was a tough one for DRX. Sentinels, I think, had the read against Gen.G, and I think they had the read against this DRX team as well. It was a heartbreakingly close loss to get things going on Sunset. And I think what really lost them this game was their flood retakes, which are normally so good for them. Sentinels was always pausing, fighting, and denying those setups, and winning out on a few of these key rounds to close out that map.
They were thrown off in many instances. I think that seeing the Neon on the other side, I like some of the things that they were bringing on the table, but I agree. I think that the loss on Sunset was too hard on them for them to continue and perform a reverse.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a young roster, and losing out in that way, it's always tough. We've seen multiple series that have gone that way. Lose a close OT, and then it's a lot more dominant map too once your opponent is feeling it.
But this is the thing, though. It's going to be a very different beast today that they have to face in comparison to Sentinels. But Kukuga, there were moments of brilliance from DRX.
Yeah, I love that we got that player moment from Mako
there.
Because there were so many things that they actually tried and were so good on Sunset. I grabbed the round because I think that we needed to, refresh people's memories into what was going on in that matchup. So it's round number 10. Bear in mind, their attack wasn't it was successful at the end of it, but they were struggling a lot because of many factors. One of them being Zekken on that operator. He was putting so much pressure into everywhere in the map that they were a little bit, not having the right ideas. But there is something that they do, which is creating these conditions surrounding the map from the beginning that make rounds like this one possible. So right at the beginning, right off the bat, we're going to see a lot of utility from both of the teams fighting for that A main control, right? And all of the attention is just drawn into this. The paranoia, the aftershock, the wall, the eye, everything is being put onto this, and we understand what's going on. But then we look, why is Mako almost on A-Link? He has decided, while all of this is happening, to just TP. If we look back, he goes from tiles and TPs into top mid just to generate all this extra pressure. That is the deeper layer into what they're doing. Not only that, he's just going to keep walking, making sure that he's in the right angle. And Flashback, with the right timing, very cutesy, very demure. He's just going to be walking and covering his back and getting that kill onto Zekken. Not only this is important, because once Zekken gets that information, Mako is already onto site. I want you to pay attention to what happens here and just look at the players that have, by the way, been given all of the pressure from A main, now being... Just look at where the players are looking. They don't know how all of this is going on. Flashback is running onto A-Link. Mako's getting the kills. Poor Celsius, my guy, doesn't even know where to look because he's just being ambushed from every single part of the map. It's a very clean round. It's a very good set strat. And these are the kind of rounds that DRX, even in this situation, can pull up and will need today.
And I think that's the big difference in today's matchup. DRX lost a heartbreakingly close game where they had a lot of opportunities, where I think they were playing their macro really well in a lot of these rounds and couldn't close it out, versus a Trace who is coming in after a pretty dominant loss, which I think is really indicative of form and why I think people should still give credence to the potential of a DRX lower bracket run here.
I mean, this is the thing. We even heard it from Termi, I think, in a press conference where he said, Sen, we're just the better team on the day. There's things that we need to fix. And do you guys think they've had enough time to fix those things?
I think that it was extremely close. They could have perfectly won that map. And I think that they're a team with a lot of experience. You have players like Mako, like Buzz, that again have a lot of experience, and they have what it takes to bounce back.
Yeah, they do indeed. One play which you mentioned, very demure, very mindful, very cutie, is Flashback. And he is standing by with Golden Boy.
Hey everyone, here with Flashback, and well, want to ask you first thing about, what has the mood been like within the team since the loss to Sentinels, but also how has the experience of being able to play with the likes of Mako and Buzz and have Coach Termi there helped you grow as a player?
센티널한테 지고 나서는 5연승만 하면 된다고 최대한 좀 긍정적으로 생각하려고 했고, 형들한테 배운 것들은 지금 처음 시작할 때랑 저랑 비교하면 진짜 약간 병아리에서 좀 치킨이 됐다고 말할 수 있을 정도로 큰 성장을 했다고 생각하고 있습니다.
After the loss to Sentinels, we've just tried to think of it positively. We only need to win 5 games now just to win the championship, so the mood has been positive. In terms of playing with likes of Mako, with Buzz, and having Coach Termi as my coach, these veterans have helped me grow from like a baby chick to like a full-grown chicken now. So I'm a completely different player as I was from the first beginning.
Okay, full-grown chicken. All right, love it, love it. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Appreciate you. Best of luck. Thank you, John, for the translations. Back to you guys.
I love that analogy because he's not the only rookie, we have in this tournament, but one that's definitely impressed a lot.
And his story is so cool because he's a homegrown talent from DRX Prospects, their farm team. We saw him come up last year and play with the roster for a bit and then got sent back down to the inactive roster. But since he's joined heading into Stage 2 for DRX, we have seen a meteoric turnaround for this squad. And his performance, despite how young he is, despite how inexperienced he was coming into this event, has not missed a beat compared to what he was putting up in Pacific.
And there are so many things that he can do, like the play that I just showed, the way that he plays with the Cypher, how he can also be a supportive player, how we can also see him with the operator, is a very long list of things to go through, and to perform at this level, it is very, very impressive to see.
Yeah, there's lots of chickens in this tournament. There's also lots of chicks as well in terms of, I'm going to double down on that analogy forever.
It's a good one.
Because let's take a look at the rookies and see how they hatched as this year gone by, because Kukuka, this timeline is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Just think of the beginning of the times, and when we talk about experience, we talk about Buzz and Mako, and we just wanted to show people how, in the grand scheme of things, things are going to go down today when we talk about time on the server, because it is almost a couple of years of difference competing in the game for both of the rosters.
Yeah, when DRX were playing at their first global events, only Mako and Buzz were playing as pros. Everyone else has come up in these last few years and has kind of come out of nowhere. And for Trace, I think that's true as well from DRX. Biank has been to an event before, but for the most part, all the rest of those guys are new, fresh faces making their first global appearance here at Champions Tour.
Yeah, and let's talk about Trace Esports on the other side. Probably the team that everybody was shocked at their performance in the group stage, but Mimi, they did lose, and they lost pretty heavily in their first round.
Yeah, I think this was quite a disappointing game for Trace against EDG. They've played against this squad so many times before, and well, unfortunately, it was the exact same outcome as when they played regionally. EDG knew their setups inside and out. I think did such a good job of just contacting around the map, finding those gaps, and then exploding these rounds and winning out with their superior team fighting.
It's literally like PTSD. Like, they've been performing so well in their group. They overcame, as we're seeing in this graphic, the victory against Leviathan and against Vitality were crazy to see. Everybody's pickings went on the trash, but then they faced off EDG, and it's like seeing all their demons, and they have the face of COEX.
I think this game kind of proved that they have a really big reliance on their macro, their strategy needing to work. That's why they looked so fantastic against teams like Leviathan and like Vitality. But once the game gets simplified a lot and it ends up just kind of becoming a bit of a gunfight at times, I think that's where their plans start to break down. You have a little less like innate synergy between the players than some of the other top teams. But you can see they're still having fun swinging them mice around on stage and have time to bounce back here.
I think it's one of the things that it gives you, like debuting here in the international stage. Everybody feels like they have an idea on the other teams, but then when a new one comes in, it's not until you're in the server, or at least you're competing in the tournament, that you can really draw those comparisons or get a feeling of how you want to play against them and what to expect from them.
And I think there's only one thing that's going to be better than Trace shocking everybody, upsetting all the other teams, is being able to do a lower bracket run. Can you imagine them coming out of groups, dropping to the lower bracket instantaneously, and then going all the way from here?
Even if they don't make a run, I think just beating DRX would be a shock, eliminating the last Korean team at the tournament whose form has been so good.
And winning against an Americas team, an EMEA team, and a Pacific team.
Yeah, they're running the gauntlet.
That's a good end of the year.
They're running the gauntlet. But this is the thing, you mentioned COEX and how on form he was against Trace. But this is the thing, behind the scenes of that stage, they are all friends. Very, very, very good friends. And you can see here, COEX talking about how he doesn't want Trace to lose that confidence and want to make sure that they can actually bounce back, because he believes in them. And if COEX of all people believes in a team, I'm inclined to as well.
I love the fact that they have that support, they show that support amongst the region. I think it has to mean a lot for them, because it's not only that they're from the same region, EDG has gathered so much experience in international events that if they can recognize that talent and that potential going forward, it says something about them.
It absolutely does. And for Trace, I think that they've earned some confidence. Those 2 wins that they got in the group stage, even though that EDG game was tough, I think it is easy to kind of wipe that away as, hey, we played a team we have played a ton of times before, we lost them again. C'est la vie. We still have had a great run here at Champions Seoul, and this is an opponent who isn't familiar with them, who doesn't know them inside and out, and I think that can help them to reinstill that confidence they showed in the groups.
Yeah, speaking of confidence, let's send it back to Golden Boy and check in with Trace Esports, Biank.
Hey everyone, here with Biank as we get ready for their matchup. And well, I want to ask, this is going to be your second champs where you've shocked everyone, you've made it out of groups, you did it once with Billy, now you're doing it here with Trace. What has been the difference between, you know, the Billy squad and the Trace team, and how does that prepare you for potential victory here against DRX today?
那就是首先恭喜你，这是你的第2次的冠军赛之旅嘛。那当然你们也是惊讶到了很多人，因为你们能够从小组赛当中出现。那去年是跟 BLG 一起来的，但是今年是跟 TE 一起并肩作战。你觉得今年和去年2支队伍有什么区别呢？以及说想问一下，今天为了赢下这场胜利做了哪些准备呢？
我觉得2支队伍更大区别在于我吧，因为毕竟是指挥嘛。然后经过这2年的比赛经验也好，然后更多的。经历了更多的室外嘛，然后也是成长了挺多。然后今天打第2季吧，我就感觉要把我们自己的东西打好吧。然后赛前布置其实已经很透彻了，所以我们只要把自己的事情以及战术打出来就好。
I think the biggest difference is me as the IJL, and I have also learned a lot, got a lot of experience for last 2 years. I mean, from the failure, of course. And for today's matchup, it's against DRG. I mean, we have to do our own thing well, and actually our preparation is pretty clear right now.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, losing is learning. Congratulations, and hopefully see you next time. All right. Back to you guys.
I love the way he talks about learning from his losses and failures, because some of you might not remember this, but last year when he was here, he was eliminated and he had to go up against EDG and DRX. It's basically history repeating itself, and a lot of the CN fans on Chinese social media is backing the Biank redemption arc.
You absolutely have to. I mean, they lose to EDG just like they did at Champs last year, but now with a new team around him and the learnings from not just what he achieved at Champs and at these upsets thus far, but from a year of playing in the VCT-CN Partnership League and being able to have that really consistent gameplay against teams who are getting better, like FPX, like EDG. And while they didn't make it to Masters Shanghai, the best in the world were there, and I'm sure scrimming against this Trace team. We've even heard from squads like G2 about how good they've looked even back then. They seem to have come out of nowhere to a lot of the global fans, but they've really been grinding a long time to make it here.
And it wouldn't be the first time that we see a team that was good at some point in the game, but just as it evolved and as the region evolved with it, they were just left behind. Some of the ideas were lackluster, some of the players just lost the touch, or maybe the meta changed. The agents that they play, were not good anymore, and they just didn't fit into the whole ecosystem. This has not been the case, especially for Biank.
Honestly, I love that arrival interview featuring Biank with GB. So let's hear more from Biank and hear what he had to say about the loss against EDG and today's matchup against DRX as well in this Omen Player Moment.
大家好，我是 T1速的 Biank， 心情是不好的。EE 最大特点就是个人能力上比较强嘛，然后打法上也比较自信。就是刚开始打法上面没有特别自信嘛，我觉得在战术部署上面是没有问题的。然后也是被他们以就是枪法发挥吧，然后加上一些个人能力吧，然后拿到一些比较大的优势，然后后面也是没有调整回来嘛。个人上面以及主要是在 EDG 这个实力上面找到一些原因嘛，就是我们今天其实战术部署以及赛前针对，包括教练组的研究，其实都很到位的，包括他们每一步的动作其实都是知道的。但是就是输在了枪法上以及自信上面嘛。
Trying to draw their attention and a good angle for Kung here.
Dividing
Tuck
Conquer.
himself in the corner. 1 HP's not enough. Kai prevails, and now the 2v2. They know about Chichu. They don't know about Simon. Now they do. They can get that defuse started. Chichu's got to close the gap and fast. Market his only option, his only way, and it's not good enough.
他们 DRX 因为也是亚洲队伍嘛，所以比较了解，因为之前跟他们训练次数挺多的，然后也互相知根知底吧，属于是。然后就是我觉得在 DRX 开局我们要去找到自己的状态吧，然后希望能针对到他们一些打法吧。
I think he hit the nail on the head there, Kakuka. They have to come out swinging with full confidence.
Yeah, I think that forgetting about what happened against EDG or understanding that probably they just know them too well, and just facing DRX as what they are right now, wounded, right? They were close to getting that first map. They weren't able to get it, and Trace has been looking good throughout the tournament.
I think Trace is as well as a team that has been really willing to change up their ideas, change up their compositions. The bond comp they became known for was new for this event. I actually have a lot of faith in this team to go back, look at the issues they found in that EDG game, and not just come in with a newfound confidence, but also to adjust the macro, adjust their approach to the map veto, those kind of things, to show something new against DRX now in this lower bracket.
Well, I wonder if the fans believe in them as well, because it's time for the results of our MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you guys which team had the best shot at surviving today's elimination matches, and my oh my, this was a very close one, and you guys went for DRX.
I'm not surprised about the DRX. I think that, they're right. I'm surprised about how close it is between G2 and Fnatic. And
this
that
is
Fnatic,
G2 and Fnatic for you.
But especially with what happened yesterday, that they're above G2, right? I think that the performances, yes, it was not the best, but to see Fnatic still on top. Mimi, especially speaking about time zones, what do you think about this poll?
I love talking about time zones. It's a bad time for both Europe and... no, it's better for Europe. So
I mean, I think it's too early for us.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just think Fnatic fans are sick of losing to G2 in every other game, that they're like, this is our game, we have to do well
I
here.
was there. I don't want to see it again.
Something. But let's take a look at what we thought in terms of predictions, because we trolled yesterday. We hard trolled.
Yeah, it was bad.
Let's see how much are we trolling today. Doug and Baby Big coming out saving us, and I'm not biased ever about anything.
No,
so, yeah.
Never been.
Never. Not one time.
I really want to see, I would like to eardrops on the conversation that Baby Bay and Doug had about how Trace is going to win this.
How do you think it went? How do you guys think that went?
Bro.
Bro, yeah,
Let's
that's
do it
the
again.
active start.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You're breaking everything, man.
Yeah.
I reckon Baby Bay's internal clock probably told him to vote for Trace. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
it is an upset, but I don't think it's an absolutely insane thing to say. I think there
agree.
is a world where DRX could look shaken off that loss. I think if Trace is more confident and play the macro game that they brought in that group stage, there is a real world where they can win this team. They're an underdog, yes, but they've already proven that they can make these upsets happen.
Yes or no? You think I was crazy for going for Fnatic?
No,
I think that's gonna be a
very
close game.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
It's
I
like yesterday, we all predicted the same for the first game, and we were like, no, this is a bad idea.
You're
And then
too
won.
kind, you're too kind, because today is all about survival. It's gonna come down to DRX, Trace, G2, and Fnatic. It's time to see which team will make it through day 3 of Champions Seoul playoffs.
Elimination matches. We're gonna send 2 teams home. It's on obliterate G2.
In a tournament like this, we have no time to dwell.
I'll just try to come back stronger next time.
Fnatic gonna have to fight through the lowers.
Trace just wasn't enough.
DRX down to the lowest of our playoffs.
Getting closer and closer to the top of the mountain.
Fnatic, one of the best teams Valorant has ever seen. To have such a prestigious IGL with Boaster, it's definitely an exciting match for me. Kind of like a proving match that I can be better than him. My team is better than theirs.
Boaster, he is a very good captain. When he's fired up, can lead the team to win a round just by himself.
Fnatic are poised to win this round. Boaster swinging around the back, finds the headshot on the first, the second. Looking for the 30, he's got it!
You saw Fnatic being at the peak of the game, destroying everyone, having the best runs, but people are catching up.
Now he's left alone in a 1v2. Got it delivering and Sauce Bus on the other side. The time is in his favor. Allen gets the 4. Nice.
Boaster and Ron are like really intelligent players and people as well. But I believe my captain will come out on top.
Boaster, you're known as one of the best IGLs, but I'm gunning for that title.
Because 在我没来到 T1之前，他们经历过太多的差一点嘛，每次都差一点进入世界赛，然后这支队伍是我职业生涯以来感觉那种想赢、想胜利那种心情是最强烈的这种。
사실 뭐 IGL로서 당연히 이겨야 된다는 마인드로 들어가야 된다고 생각을 하는데 무조건 이기려고 악을 써야 될 것 같아요.
他们 DRX 因为也是亚洲队伍嘛，所以比较了解，因为之前跟他们训练次数挺多的。然后希望能针对到他们一些打法吧，对。
사실 그레이스 입장에서 지금까지 좋은 결과라고 생각을 하고 있고 하지만 이제 저희한테 승리를 좀 줘야 되지 않나 생각하고 있습니다.
Trace Esports. DRX.
This is it. This is the lower bracket, which means there will be no second chances. DRX and Trace have to bring their A game if they want to make a run, and this is going to be a very important map pool.
It doesn't matter what happened in the groups anymore. It all comes down to this if you want to survive. First, we're going to get Lotus, which is probably the best map if we remove Ascend out of the equation, just as DRX did, right, Mimi?
I do think it is really interesting, though, to see Trace going for that second round banned on Bind. That's been the map that has defined them thus far at Champions Seoul, winning against both opponents in the group stage with that deadlock composition, but now moving away from it and trying instead 2 maps to start, which we haven't seen from them yet, at least at Champions Seoul.
Yeah, on the other side, I love this Abyss pick from DRX. I wish they did this in their previous game, which I feel like is giving us an indication that they put into the work when it comes to the mind games too of this veto.
It was definitely a conversation that was had, and probably they thought about it. Maybe we should have gone for the Abyss. It's a map that is ready. It's a map that they're liking, that they're playing here, that they're winning, so why not? As we're saying, this is do or die. If you have a card to show, it is the moment to do it.
And it's especially true for DRX, the last Korean squad here. As we look at the agent select here, Foxy9 is going back to this chamber comp. We saw DRX play this against Fnatic, and it was an absolutely dominant win there.
I love the fact that they mix everything that they like about the compositions that they play throughout the year, and they come up with this. But even though we see the chamber and how it can make the game different, I am looking at Boss, the games that he's having lately, how strong he starts on every single one of them. With DRX starting on the attack, I think he has to be the #1.
I'm looking at Biank. He's the man of the upset last year and here again. It's the IGL on defense. He's going to have to keep his team in this.
Well, this is it. It's elimination, and we're heading to map 1 right now. Let's send it over to your casters. They're always quiet and reserved. I didn't write this. Brandon Saito.
Thank you very much. Didn't quite catch the end of that one, but it's all good. It's an elimination game on the line here. Trace versus DRX, and a lot to play for, a lot to go over as well. The desk has already kind of paved the way for us, I think, talking about the map pool. We can get into the nitty-gritty of that one, talking about how Trace have now having to pivot, I think, their map pick options. But honestly, the big overarching one for me is the fact that you've got DRX, the lone hometown heroes right now, up on the chopping block with elimination on the line as well. Not just a lone standing team representing Pacific, but also the Korean home crowd.
They're going to start on attack side, and they're bringing out this chamber composition once more. It was an adjustment that DRX made for champs. Foxy9 takes that first swing. It's a free one for him with the rendezvous setup. Doesn't find anything and backs off behind the one-way. But DRX, the spike is actually heading to try to find some kind of pick on B.
We go for a bit of a re-clear of this A setup. It's a high-low as well. Foxy9, that is overzealous. A little bit eager as well. There's no follow-up and follow-through by the rest of DRX.
That's very bold. Good hold from Trace.
And the one-way as well, renewed up, but still the Viper wall should allow them access. Looking for a contact clear as soon as the curtain will drop. Paranoia, and the Prowler doesn't actually hit towards the back of it, so unexpected, but still the trade is clean. Wow, King with a lot to do into that spot, but just can't overcome it. Hail of bullets that end up coming his way, and Kai want to get cheeky with it. Pushing past, trying to take that time in, but he's spotted. Just onto the brink there on the edge of the action. Bane, make sure to clear out Hey Bay. Sole survivor. It's a 1v3. It would require mistakes from DRX, I think, to allow him into this. Spots the head of Akko, jump spotting. Bane is weak. Gets himself in, but still Bane clean with it. 3-piece of the pistol.
A little bit sloppy from DRX in terms of how they were using their utility and how they wanted to break that rubble hold. But in terms of the shooting, they just had all of the advantages there. And I think that's where we're going to see this DRX squad really push that advantage, is by trying to take as many gunfights as they can. Trace are a smart team. But I think if we learned anything from that EDG game, EDG were forcing fights up in the tempo, trying to contact in and rely on the rifling, and they ripped Trace to pieces. If DRX watched that game, though, you can only take away big ideas like that because we haven't seen Trace play on Lotus or Abyss.
Okay.
Fung Fung takes down Foxy9's head right at the start. Foxy9's having a rough opening to play in Chamber here.
That's the thing with a Chamber pick as well. It's quite obvious in terms of where you're going to be trying to play.
Definitely. I mean, majority of these early rounds, Foxy9 is going to be trying to post up on those kind of lines. It's also somewhat susceptible to buying Guardian, Odin, something like that, and spamming.
Yeah.
Almost always he's going to have that rendezvous tucked into that corner of lobby. You can move it around a little bit, but there's a decent chance that a defender can get some good damage onto you, forcing out that rendezvous and then popping shots.
Just one shot fired to break the haunt as well, so Biank doesn't really have much to go off of.
And I fear he's not going to be able to hold this one down on his own. So many players on the other side, and yet overthinking it perhaps here a little bit, Marco.
I'm a bit worried about this one because still Trace is sticking this 3 players stacking over towards A as well. And with time running short, that's a necessary element really that you're going to be needing to win the round if you are DRX in this spot. They might start to increase the tempo round about now.
Paranoia
as we mentioned, still pivot options aren't quite there. Beautiful with the flash still. Time just in there for them, yep. Whip the outlaw around and catching it onto the back of Heybei. So the danger is navigated.
And I think Trace gave them that one a little easily there. I'm not sure what that decision-making was from Lorking and Kai. They had Paranoia. They went for... They assumed that the whole hit was coming through tree, and they're asking Fong Fong and Biank to do an outrageous amount here if they wanted this round to go in their direction. It's damage, the name of the game at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Tried to take guns out of the hand of DRX. But you do not want to be giving orbs to Buzz.
He's steadily trying to build up to that showstopper. Going to be missing the target here, Mako. Oh, he's going down with a ship. Oh, no. And even dropping flashback. So the guns, that's some significant economic damage that Trace have been able to at least do to DRX here. See how many guns they will be able to keep.
Michael watched the lifeboat just escape the Titanic without him on it.
I know, it's tragic. Oh.
The paranoia is nice from Mako there, obviously, catching Lorking and onto Kai. But they didn't fall back into defensive positions, using that backside and the cover available to them.
Yeah.
I really feel like Trace thought that was coming full through tree. A bad read, unfortunately, for them. And DRX, I've got a bit of an odd buy coming into the bonus. It definitely feels like a bonus round, not a full rifle round. Can Foxy do anything at the start here?
It's going to be all-out war occurring out towards the rubble as well. That paranoia is beautiful. Buzz caught up, but still he's safely tucked inside the smoke. Just tries to take that angle and fight, but again, nothing to really add on. Extra spice in terms of that util, and players are accounted for right now. Bane still looking snappy alongside Flashback. Maybe enough to make something of this round still, but leaving it just down to the one, and he will be quickly approached. And the double-up discipline of Trace is enough to seal up that round. Puts at least the one on the board for now.
Biank, what a round. Stacks over towards the site, correctly reads things as the IGL. He's already been eliminated from Champions once by EDG and DRX. Not today, he says, with a 4K in this rubble fight. DRX has been putting a heavy emphasis over towards rubble in these first few rounds. It's only been 3, but a lot of the early round pressure has been in that direction. Trace, I think that was a 4-player stack from the defenders. This time, going to be fighting it with 3. And Heybei coming over to help. Same stuff again.
Yeah.
Very, very early paranoia usage from Lorking. I'm not a big fan of that, especially if DRX start committing less and less to rubble. You're going to want to see Lorking hold it. Such a big tool to play retakes, for example, re-clears later in the round.
Just putting a premium on pushing Foxy 9 away, at least.
Which is interesting, because he's still got a goose egg out here.
Exactly, 0-3. Was giving Fnatic a bit of trouble, though, when Haven was played. DRX.
He absolutely
pulling out this composition. The operator was doing work.
I'm afraid I've got to remind you that this map is called Lotus, though.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. 3 sites, close enough.
Yeah, that's reasonable, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, the brain fog comes for us all.
Still those 3 players from Trace holding in this direction. And if Foxy9 wants to make something happen here, got to get past the Prowler.
God. And he's absorbing a lot of util into the process as well. Does have the rendezvous to get out of dodge. Tries to adjust with the shot.
All of this is not really doing much in the round. The time's ticked down, and now Mako's got a decision. Where do you go? How do you get in?
You're going over towards C. You haven't cleared any of this prior util down. Heybei wants to just land those shots, and he will do. that. Nano Swarms as well, making sure that nobody can follow up onto this Flashback. He's going to try and barrel through and find an opening in through the B site. With 2 players dropped in through the connector, Biank now last alive on that spot. Alerts them, Nightfall scatters out onto the site now, trying to put the pressure and apply it straight to them. Kai, he's left into that 1v2, hops up and over, but a watchful eye of Mako will drop him down.
Oh, it's not elegant, it's not beautiful, but it gets the job done for DRX. Flashback opens things up just by bulldozing his way through this B main angle, through a Viper wall as well. Wide swinging to take down Lorking. And I think that that is going to be, like I said earlier, a really big key. It's just forcing gunfights. DRX have gone really heavy into rookies with solid rifling. Yeah. Really solid rifling. I think they outskill this Trace roster if they force fights against them. At the moment, DRX are playing some slow rounds and not really getting anywhere with it until they go for the fights.
That's concerning, I think, that waiting outside C, not clearing any of the mollies, pulling out some of that util. Kai, he's getting cheeky. Of course, risks need to be taken. Maybe not for Foxy9, though. He will be able to get out of dodge there. Taking a lot of damage in the process. In through the C site now we go. DRX get the confirmation. So player lurking out through Waterfall.
Does Feng commit to this? It would be extraordinarily ambitious to go for it in a 4v5 when you only have classics. So presumably, if Trace were able to get a pick here or there, maybe that would justify expending the ultimate.
Yeah, might hit the go button.
DRX don't actually have very much space on site here. They don't control Waterfall. They don't control Spawn. And yet, Trace are not really forcing the action. They're just playing for exits by the look of things.
Yeah, slow and steady. They are one of the most, you know, quote-unquote standard teams that we have out of the China region in terms of how they play. All about trying to be efficient with the rounds, and they don't make too many risky plays, even though timing would have been right for it potentially into this one. Still, as you said, going to be going down to the spike here, denying a lot more. But this is DRX now with 4 rounds on the board. They're getting up to this next buy round and starting to feel a little bit of a worry for Trace, I think.
Absolutely, especially just their decision-making in that moment. Which ultimates are you afraid of charging up there on DRX? They already have the Showstopper, they already have Pit. What are you worried that Mako's going to get up to his Omen ult?
Yeah.
Like, why not go for that and try to do some economic damage at least? Keep DRX honorable. Okay, never mind, let's move on. Round 6 in the lower bracket here at Champs.
Same setup by Trace.
Very, very similar. Are we still getting that paranoia off the beginning from Lorking? Yep.
Yeah, paranoia, Horn 2, a lot of that missing as well. The Horn catching Foxy9! How the hell did that happen? Couldn't quite get out of there. I'm not sure if the nade rebounded and broke his TP. Might have been hard committed. No, it looks like it's still up on the minimap, so I'm not sure what happened there from Foxy9.
Yeah, mate, neither am I. I mean,
okay.
He was overwhelmed with utility coming at him. He's trying to find a timing past the paranoia, and then he has to deal with the Horn and the Boombot. He didn't have it. He didn't have the mental bandwidth, I think.
Nade though, it's going to be bouncing off the back wall, clears. And partitions out this side still. Kai, he's going to be holding strong. Needs to be that stalwart defender, but he's going to be dropped from the rocket, but still goes at least pound for pound there. Nade again to back them away. Still these kills in the favor of Trace. 3v2 for their retake, but the Pit placed down, propped up. Very difficult to deal with if you are Trace now. It's going to take a couple of raw duels, maybe a bit of spam, getting lucky. They're going to be hoping for it, hunting for it. Rifles in hand. In terms of util to work with, it's not too much here. Adjustment, smokes, drop the Bane! My God! Just wrangles that rifle and brings it closer and closer to victory over the precipice. And a 5th round for him, with how important that is as well. Economy most likely broken for Trace. Listen, I'm no mathematician. They might be able to scramble together a buy off the back of it because of the loser's bonus, but this is getting really, really tricky.
Certainly is. And another big round from Bane. He's had a couple of them so far. He's 8-1 in the server right now. Good to see a rookie player that hasn't had the best performances just yet at Champs find his place, find his footing. Trace are going to be broken. The economy's not looking good for them. He's dead right, and they're looking to push.
Taking that contact as well. Oh my God, weaving in and out of the bullets. Barely escaping death there from that main fight as well, trying to put the squeeze onto DRX.
Nice
Chasing
reaction
them from behind, yeah, and it is a good reaction.
I like this. They got out just in time to avoid those players pushing them from C. Now they should have a good idea that it's an empty A site. They should be accelerating. They're a little slow with it, to be honest, but Foxy9's watching the flank.
He is watching it, but he's really going to be locked down onto this spot still, nailing his shots. There's a bit of danger that he potentially might lose his operator, needs a bit of help from the rest of his team, but Plaid's down, and apparently easy pickings for him. He's on for the ace.
That's definitely going to make the stats look better. Grab the 4K on the anti-eco round as everybody's pushing you one by one. Not bad. He does his job there, Foxy9. Stops any level of danger. Trace, try a little pocket pick. But I think what we've seen so far from them in these first 7 rounds is that they do look a lot less comfortable, a lot less good, strong ideas compared to the maps that they've been winning on so far at Champs, which is Ascent and Bind. We've only seen them win on Ascent and Bind. We've only seen them play on Ascent, Bind, Sunset. It's a bizarre situation in which they got the same map pool against Vitality and Leviathan.
That's why we were kind of thinking about, okay, I'll hold that thought for now as well, as Foxy9 does once more pay the price of peeking that angle up through. That is, I mean, okay, hey, Bay, listen, team's already up 1, but he decided to take the fight anyway, so he's brought it to that 4-on-4. Nade held, sees alongside it. Good additions to try and clear this space into it, but a corner not accounted for, and Biank happy to oblige. Feng Feng right over the shoulder. Buzz dropped in the process now. ADS but lining him up. Flashback might just be their savior. Weaving in and out of the angles. That's ridiculous. Even getting a bit of a run on as well because he knows he's done the business and done the damage. Feng Feng needs to isolate this fight in through the corner, but Mako drops him.
The rookie players are just taking turns, cycling through, seeing who can step up for DRX and pull off a big round win. Trace is going to take a timeout here. It's already been called. It is ridiculous, I think, that they got themselves up into a 5v4 and then committed to try to stop that. I don't believe that we saw the snake bite come out. I could be wrong about that, of course. But it looked to me like Hebe had swung without really having too much of an advantage in terms of how he's going to stop that from snowballing on top of him.
Yeah.
It's a scrappy game right now. DRX seem to be hard leaning into individualism. I do think that that's a good game plan, but it's creating chaotic situations all over the place. Foxy9 is still trying to do the same swing over towards Rubble.
Over and over again.
Because he's realized he can get in front of the paranoia. So in Foxy9's head, he's thinking, okay, Lol King's throwing a bad paranoia here, I can punish this. And then Tracer thinking, oh, he's running in front of the paranoia every time, we can punish him. So it's just a bit bizarre swirling of interactions of kind of suboptimal play and who can get the better end of it, who can grasp it.
But form being that deciding factor, I mean, it's kind of expected, right? When I think us coming into this, we're looking at the map pool overall, and Bind and Ascent being the only 2 maps that Trace ended up winning on. Bind took a big knock with EDG. They hard antied them. I went over that VOD thinking Bind was going to be played today, much to my dismay. It's not. But EDG really did hard counter a lot of what Trace were doing on their setups, and it has knocked their confidence. Even still, it shows with them second banning the map in this map pool, in this big ban system that we've got here with these games played.
Let's have a look at the A-Rubble fight again, though. Does Foxy9 get in front of the paranoia?
Oh, yes, he does.
Yes. Do they try to punish him again? Yes. Same scenario. It's like they're just rolling the dice to see what happens there. Both teams believing in their own individualism, not changing anything.
It's a fake TP forward as well. The Satchel might do enough to remove, just the one Nano Swarm.
That's not bad, though. I mean, they've removed the alarm bot as well, so they've got rid of some decent util over here. Trace got good information on the A site. Do they choose to go for a lockdown?
Oh, TP in through the back. That's Mako as well. He's trying to clear the most of the way. He's been naded by his team. All good, though. Paranoia sweeps through. Buzz follows up off the back of it, and his team are at least trying to collect up these kills onto the site, and they will do just that.
Lockdown goes through, but they've already lost 2.
Yeah, so the lockdown is going to be used to try and play this one, but the nade is perfect. It just rebounds, and yeah, you can feel it, man. It's untested, it's untempered here by Trace, taking him onto this map, and you're going to need raw individualistic aim to carry them through this round for even a chance of a win. Listen, the Guardians in their hand with a decent amount of chip damage. Pushing back Foxy9 in through the corner. Bane, though, still locked onto sight. Slightest of off angles. Anticipating the wide swing, and he'd be right on the money with that. Earns himself a kill as a result of it. And rapidly, the options are running out here for Trace once more. Gotta hightail it, gotta save the guns. Stem the bleeding in whatever way you can, but at this point, the map is running away from you.
There's not even a trade as they come through that smoke there, Trace. It looks like they're pretty far behind the Lotus meta compared to teams like DRX. And we've already seen DRX pick up big wins on this map. They managed to take down Fnatic on Lotus, which is a huge accomplishment. I think mostly because Fnatic got caught off by the composition and how well DRX played around it. Foxy9 was having a blinder of a day on Chamber at that time. But Buzz was also a monster. Had over 1 KPR in that entire match. And this is the kind of game where you can really flex your muscles a little bit and try to take things to Trace.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Does Foxy9 swing in front of the Paranoia again?
They're holding a Season 8 this time, but again, it's probably not going to be stopping him. Yeah, as soon as the util goes flying, he's back out of there. It's pulling out so much of the util from Trace that leaving them with nothing but scraps, really, for a lot of these retakes.
He's fine doing it at this point. There wasn't a Paranoia used from Law King, so Trace were trying to adjust something there. And it looks like Foxy9's not really trying to contest the angle anymore. He's doing the same thing because he realizes it gets his team a util advantage, but he's not actually staying long enough to get punished. So we are now seeing both sides adapt to this fight over towards Rubble in subtle ways. Foxy9 gets that rendezvous back online again. But there's a one-way in his face. Should get broken by his team as the Viper Wall goes up.
Biank sending out the util. Spades of it now and needs to assist with most of this. Buzz is hot on the heels of all these players. Goodness me, he's just chopping them down. There is no defense over towards the A Rubble. The protocols in place from DRX are just immaculate.
He had an outstanding kill on Fongfong in the previous round, and that's another world-class shot. This time, though, Fongfong with the revenge.
He's got to try and answer back, hasn't he? Showstopper. It's going to be used. That's incredibly preemptive. To no avail.
On whom?
And now walking back up, creeping to try and take up that space once more. In through B, there might be an appropriate response again from Trace. They've got 2 players up through heaven. It's Kai, shoulder to shoulder. Shots need to be landed here. Spraying them down, the spacing just not good enough. And time now on the other foot. DRX pushed into a hole there, really, with nowhere else to go.
Trace finally managed to be able to pick up a round there. A big one from Heybei. This guy's been so incredibly important for them in their run at this event. We've seen him wear his heart on his sleeve too. And it would be crushing for either of these teams to go out. It feels too early to be sending teams home from our playoff stage already.
Yeah.
But that advantage, that extra lifeline of the upper bracket quickly dwindled away for squads like Trace and DRX.
And now just the hardest possible path if you want to survive in the tournament.
Fongfong's been spotted. I don't think he even realized it there. It was that box jump peak. And Fongfong wasn't ready for it. They also, though, DRX did not manage to punish him. They were going for that wallbang spam to try to aim punch him, knock him off the angle. Instead, the fight comes towards Biank.
Well, Maka's already crept up onto this. The lack of presence over towards A Rubble as well. Pretty big indicator now to Nightfall as well. Buzz through. Again, Showstopper in his hands. Be able to pave the way, lead the charge to the rest of his team, but honestly, the damage is already done. Kills are already through against the back wall. Heybei might need a change of trousers after that one, I think. Barely surviving. Three v 5 though to play this retake, and with an operator in the hands of Fongfong. He's only watching for the flank.
Sees nade. Kai dodges.
Corner, yeah, Kai's able to survive. Still time is running out here. Spike's going to start to at least tick away from them. And the kill's also getting away with them at that. There's a trade, at least online, but you won't be able to save this operator. Feng. Shots off, but yeah, quickly approach in terms of his position. DRX just trying to essentially get this up to a 10-2 finish at the first half. Looking unstoppable.
It's absolute domination. It really is. Trace don't have the layers to their game on this map, despite picking it, which, you know, that's a surprise in itself today, I think. but they don't have the layers. For example, here, there's no real idea of what they can do to stop the showstopper from Buzz, taking all of that space away. And you see it in the body language there from Biank, the IGL, who's been to champs before, won games at this tournament before. Feels like he's out of his depth here.
Similar play to what we've seen prior. This time the Haunt is able to just light up Fung Fung. And Buzz for the easiest diff in his life there. It's all supplemented by that util. Taking point, Prowler spots it in through the door. Low King lucky to be alive. Biank traded out, just trying to hold it down through the side and wasn't expecting players to creep up behind him when the door swapping by. That is just absurd. Flashback just flexing on him at this point. And Kai, it's not going to be long for this world. Tagged up through the wall, stray bullets. It's enough to do the job there. That's a 10-2 half for DRX. Domination doesn't even begin to describe it.
This is the experience difference. This is Trace having not played Lotus against top teams in the world and been able to refine their meta over the course of scrims. This is DRX winning the map, barring a miracle.
Oh, come on.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Specialized dope boy from the 213. Yeah, the kicks powder blue like the UNC. All I need is one time and now she won't leave. Girl, this ain't no K-pop, ain't no G-O-D. I fly to Bahamas just so I get a 10. Mark on my bag just like a letterman. Do the hoop, that's the aim one. Everybody swinging, let me know when you land one. Featherweight, now get your weight. See, I don't take two, now this a take one. They wanna run it back, I'll keep it laced up. Look, I ain't got time for your fake love. Roll up with the gang, we gon' violate. Jiggy hella fly with no stylist. Yeah, ain't no middleman, I get it direct. Yeah, big wrist watch, but it's timeless. Ooh, she gon' work it like she got no time left. Yeah, say she love my style, love my dialect. I know she like it by the way your eyes dilate. Ooh, she a bad vibe, wanna vibrate.
For the map so far, it's, scrappy, it's individualistic. Teams and players, they're leaning into that raw aim and just hoping that they can brute force their way through a lot of these scenarios here. But for Trace as well, reflecting on how far they've come, this is a bit of a heartbreaking scenario for them, I think, as well, when the expectations were probably quite high for themselves. They come out of their group as the first seed, but now it's feeling like they're in a bit of a free fall.
I would agree with that. They got the most unlucky playoff matchup they could have done, playing against EDG, who know them like the back of their hand. And now as we get more closely to playoffs, these teams now respect them, know how to punish their map pool. DRX today banning Ascent to force Trace to take us here to Lotus. And DRX have woken up and realized that they're going to win. They didn't let the DRX loss to Sentinels affect them, and they've come out here with some fire.
Yeah, and the pressure's just sliding off of them, I think, at this point, despite the fact that they are the last holders of the kind of respect here for Pacific, the chance for them to lift a trophy, for the Korean crowd too. That would affect them.
Yeah, there could have been a huge amount of weight on their shoulders coming into today, but they're playing quite freely.
Foxy9. 2 bullets expended, just from the Headhunter.
I actually think the DRX have got better over the course of this map too. It was looking scrappy at the beginning, but some of the stuff we were watching from like round 8 onwards was pretty clean, pretty nice. And as they kind of relax into things, we'll see whether they can convert the pistol too. 50 seconds left, and this could go A or B. It looks like an A fake that they're going to try to pivot through the blue door, which is open, and Bane's watchful eyes are here.
And Ben's going to have a lot to do into this spot. Anchoring player into it, Prowler in through his face, but it matters not. Foxy9, he's there to push through the smoke, is watched by Lao King. He's to follow the tracers. Meanwhile, the rest of his team happily cleaning up. And now it's curtains. An 11th round for DRX, a second pistol round.
And if there was hope for Trace, I think it's just gone down the drain. Lorking did manage to double his kills, but he's gone from 1 to 2. That's a big fall for a player that people were excited to see popping off in the group stage against two great teams. But DRX today perhaps taking their opponents more seriously, maybe?
I think they've definitely done their research in terms of the best way that they can find the win here.
Yeah.
Banning Ascent, essentially telling Trace, pick your poison. Do you want to play Bind again, where you've just been anti-stratted? Mako will send out that Paranoia. Sees nade is, oh, it's perfect. But a TP to evacuate, so survival there for Lowking. Posturing them over towards A Rubble.
I mean, Kai is attempting to get this play through, but there's a trip right to the left of him. So Kai's got angles to heaven. Obviously, DRX know that, though, and there's nobody posted there. So this is going to be another opportunity for Foxy9 to mop up some ecos. See if he's good for it.
And he's got the backup, at least to back out the rendezvous, but at least behind him. I mean, he saw a lot of heads.
But they're not trying to contest.
No.
The time is simply ticking.
He's missed the timing, though. Maybe falling asleep ever so slightly. The bullets not quite landing onto the heads there, so player surviving. Kai heard the footsteps, baited out into the open. That was Buzz. He had his aim trained onto that spot. Expected outcome for him.
And a good
35 seconds.
Good time into the snakebite too to stop any kind of reactive push from Trace.
And it's not synced up too well, is it, from Trace? Throwing everything at the wall, seeing what can stick. Fung Fung's got to go down with a ship here. Can't survive into the next with his Marshall in his hands. And he won't, but that's up to 12 now for DRX. Right now, they're on the cusp. The confidence has been there right from the beginning, to be honest.
And have we had a more dominant map here at Champions Seoul? Not that I can remember, but my memory's not photographic.
Yeah. Listen, we're getting old.
But this is not just dominant in terms of the scoreline, but quick. And the rounds haven't been very close either.
Right, it feels like we just got here.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the fastest map that we've had so far. Trace is going to give it one more go.
Exactly. One more go. See if they can survive a bit longer in through this map. Opting into this fight over towards A Rubble once more. It's delayed in terms of the util here, and you're going to start to see it once more. It's a season nade. Caught onto the corner. King is happy to stand his ground. Rest of his team alongside him. Taking these fights onto the open. Bane was spotted there, but as the door was just the slightest of angles, enough for Mako to capitalize.
Trace are not really using that pick. And the snakebite they just threw to go forwards on A, though. They're going to allow Buzz and Mako to set up another quasi-crossfire setup here. And Foxy9's dangerous, too. He's front B with a judge. And
yeah,
Kai
this spot is brutal, man.
Appears to be wandering into a spider's web.
He's clearing it well. It's the appropriate way to clear that spot. And Mako also just goes for a little bit of a peek as well, seeing if he can offset that advantage that's now earned and gained over for Trace. Following through here, Buzz spotting his players out, but just can't quite land it. Not there with the reaction times. So off the back of this, Trace will be surviving a little bit longer here in through this map. Any damage that Flashback does will be good for the team. Taking guns out of the hands of Trace, just making it that much more awkward.
Important for Trace to be able to win one of these rounds where they're advantaged in the economy, just to feel like they can, to feel like they're not outclassed. There is a mental difference when you're in groups versus when you're in playoffs. There's also a mental difference when you're on a map that you've won on before and you know that you can beat global teams at, versus this, which is newer territory for them. Getting anything here is just going to give them a slight flare-up of that flickering flame of hope.
The trouble is, not much room to breathe, and every single round has danger lurking around the corner. Doesn't matter if DRX are on the low buy. Seen enough thrifty wins to know that that's the case. Sees nade up and over. Paranoia as a response. Buzz is right round the corner. Shoddy in hand. Upgrade obtained. And beaming him down. My God, Buzz! Didn't have to do it to him like that. It's dirty. It's disgusting to finish. And the angle, once for Fung Fung dropped to his knees. 13-3 is the finish. Map 1 sealed up.
In the blink of an eye. We barely got started with Lotus, and DRX have already sent us barreling into the next. They have absolutely no interest in being here longer than they have to. Whistle forward to Abyss.
Yeah, dinner reservations, I think, something along those lines. But Abyss is that next map coming up as well. It'll be an interesting one to see if Trace can really pull anything from those hidden reserves.